All right, Trek peeps. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Trek chat for Sunday. Everybody got their tea? I got my tea. I got my tea. And it's Earl Grey. Yes, I
Yes.
got me some Earl Grey
Hot.
tea. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, man. How was everybody's New Year so far? How's it going?
It's fine.
Jobs okay? Okay. Family's okay? Yeah, health okay? We know your situation, Minnie. Good, good. Family's okay. Wonderful. So we got a lot coming up. We have those of you who you need to find out about let me see what I want to try to say. Oh, Shatner event just passed. And I know they have now it's rumored, I don't know. If there's supposed to be a Star Trek convention that was the people who did it for Chicago, are they I was hearing they were supposed to be doing another one sometime.
Reed Pop's not coming back to do Star Trek. They lost the license.
Oops. Ooh. Oh well, that's
That's
sad.
that's why Seattle was canceled. They lost the
Yeah,
license.
yeah, but we're waiting for that. I thought they was going to rejuvenate
No, they
it.
lost. No, Reed Pop lost the license, and the way they ran that Star Trek convention in New York, the powers that be at Star Trek were very unhappy with it.
Right, they said
And
they were going to come back to New York to do that. Yeah.
I
yeah, well,
wish.
that was such a joke. What, 3 days for nothing? I mean, there was nothing. I mean, they didn't even have costumes. They didn't even have any props. For those that were there, we were stuck in the bottom area where they do Artist Alley, and there was nothing. Like the whole Javits was supposed to be the Javits. Could have had it in a little, like, theater. It was a joke. Anyway, the
I
rumor is the rumor is that according to Creations, if their San Francisco event, that Star Trek event in San Francisco is a success, there's talk of them coming to New York.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I heard that too. That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if they are, I'm there.
Oh, of
The
course.
the the issue I have is Creation started in New York, and they started in a store in Queens. They started running conventions, and the problem is that once they went out to the West Coast and they got into bed with Viacom, when Viacom forced them to be all licensed stuff, they got into this. They got stuck with like the Vegas Con. The Vegas Con has to be it. It's the big shindig, and not everybody can get over to the West Coast.
This is true.
And it's great to be there and all that, but they're the pioneers of conventions, and it's just a shame that they allowed it to deteriorate to the point where Parsippany was like almost like a semi joke. There were good years, there were bad years. Cherry
Persephone
Hill,
wasn't so bad. Cherry Hill wasn't so bad either. But it wasn't like their normal conventions that they was doing in mid Manhattans. But they did
right?
say it's expensive to get the type of place that they need for a convention here in New York. That's why they were going to Jersey. So I know we
Yeah,
have also coming up. So the next one that's coming up is the Long Island Trek Con. Homer, are you involved with those people?
I'm not
but
involved. I plan to go, and I'll probably, if Chase is there, I'll probably do something with Pop Culture Hero Coalition.
Okay, okay.
well, before Long Island Trek, you got CradleCon at the Cradle Aviation Museum, May 18th,
Cradle
which
Con,
is,
never heard of.
oh, well, you guys, I go every year. CradleCon is the Cradle Aviation Museum turns the whole museum into a convention. So
Well, I
your
know that
fee
the Eternal Con
now that's
used to
yeah,
be
they
there.
Yes,
started it,
yes.
and then
They
when he got
started there that
arrested,
convention.
yeah, when he got
Yeah.
arrested for stealing props, they separated, and then the owners of the convention, the museum, decided to reorganize it as CradleCon, and it
Okay.
happens this year, May
So
18th.
it's in May? Okay.
May
Yes.
18th, and it's from Saturday to Sunday. Your entrance fee to the museum is the entrance fee to the con.
Oh,
And
interesting.
Oh,
It's great. I go every year and I do a panel. Star Trek people there. I mean, it's just a sci-fi con at a museum, and it's great.
yeah,
Okay.
It's the
Is
best.
anything happening in June?
yeah, good question. And the only thing I will say about Cradle Con, I remember I went there when it was Eternal Con, and like those of us who don't drive, let's just say I made it there in spite of the MTA. And that's all I'll
Well,
say.
I'm saying, well, that's. I mean, you're out on the island, so it's like for like the island. But if you want to do a con, and you want to get an opportunity to showcase the Trek clubs, it's worth going. It's Garden City, it's Nassau
This
County.
is a bit way, it's a bit of a way out there, but you can make it out there. It's a bit of a ride.
It's
It's a
just
bit of a
yeah,
ride up
yeah.
there.
I mean, like you could take it to Hempstead, and then there's like a cab or a bus that
Oh, you
will
can
take
take the Uber or whatever. Yeah.
right. Yep,
Okay, so
it's
let's
right
move
near
on.
the
I want to move on. What is coming up in June? I'm
nothing,
not sure. I'm not sure if Eternal Con is happening in May also. I haven't heard anything yet. Um,
nothing. I haven't heard anything. The
and in
only other,
June,
the
July,
only
in August is Vegas. April, well, this is that. Well, that's not here in New York. That's in Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know of anything else that's
well, then
happening.
you got the Creative Realms taking place at the Westchester County Center.
Undiscovered Realm.
Yeah, Undiscovered Realms at the Westchester County Center. Um,
Yeah,
I
that I
put
can
in
kind of get to.
That's upstate New York.
no,
Yeah,
that's right here in Westchester.
Oh, Westchester. Okay.
yeah,
All
that
right,
take
the end of
Metro
West,
North to
I've
end of
not
White
been to that
Central
one.
Plains.
Avenue, White Plains, in White Plains. So if you take Metro North Harlem line, you come up to White Plains, you're there.
Hmm.
If
Oh,
you're
okay.
on any of the lines that do Harlem up to White Plains, you're there. Um, then you've got Long Island Trek, which maybe I'll make it out there this year.
Yeah, we was just talking about that. Yeah, yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
us we went out last year, so we'll be there. This year we had tables and stuff last year. It was nice. I enjoyed it. I met the cutie from Disco, so I'm happy.
The only yeah,
Yeah,
last year they were trying to organize like they wanted me to do a panel on cosplay and making uniforms and everything. And then it turns out they're like, oh, you're gonna be with like Ed and doing props and uniforms. And I'm like, that's two different things. So we just ended up not going.
they had a good turnout, and it was nice, kind of small family reunion thing. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. So we're gonna get everyone's opinion about the upcoming disco season. What are we?
I don't
5?
care for
Yeah,
disco.
season 5. So we're gonna go
I
around the room. So let's go around the room and everyone mute yourself. And when I call your name, then you can start speaking. Okay? Everyone mute yourself. Okay. So let's start with Elaine because she came in last. Hi, Elaine. Can you unmute yourself?
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Good. How are you? I love your hair.
Thank
That's
you. Happy New Year.
gorgeous.
Nice to see you.
Oh,
Have
happy
you
New
been
Year.
well?
Yeah, yeah. Super busy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Are you looking forward to Discovery? Are you disco or not so much
Yeah, sure.
disco? Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
And they were talking about the S31. So I want to
Hmm.
get everybody's opinion about that.
Hmm.
Um, the upcoming S31. What is like your expectations for both of them?
Oh, oh, I'm not sure. No,
Did you
that's a
like
good.
the last season of Disco? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I like Strange New Worlds a bit more, but I'm
Okay.
interested to see what Discovery does.
What do you like about Strange New Worlds?
I like them as an ensemble. I think
Hmm.
really gotten that together well, and
Hmm.
the show's humor. That's always important for me. So
Do you feel Strange New Worlds is kind of like more on the rounds of like original series type of storytelling? Like, do the episodes remind you a lot of like? Because for me, they seem like they remind me a lot of the old original series way of telling, Star Trek
yeah,
stories.
I think we're trying to go back to that. Yeah. I mean, very modern too, definitely, which is fine, But I think they just went back to the chemistry basically, but which you can't like, control when that's going to happen. But I think they've done a good job with that here.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. And the S31, what would you like to see about the S31 movie or series or whatever they're doing?
All right, I want to make sure I know which one is that. I want to
So
make
the
sure I know.
Section 31, they're supposed to be trying to tell more about the story of Section 31, like how they got started and everything.
Yeah, I would like to know more about how they decided um they're going to do the dirty work and the Federation just can say we don't do that. No, like that would be interesting to see how that turns out at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, they've always been like this mystery group that everyone wanted to know, like how they got started, like at what point what happened that made people think that there was a need for a group like Section 31. So, um, they got Michelle Yeoh leading the way, so that should be pretty
Yes.
good. I'm looking forward to that. I've always actually wanted to see something stand alone with S31, so that's
Yeah, I
that's
think
kind of
people always have. Yeah, because I think they always kept it like on the show. They kept it like, well, the less we know, the better kind of thing, which I can
yeah,
understand. At the
right. It
same
has to
time,
be incognito.
yeah, exactly. But at the same time, and certainly, the whole idea of spies, I think people still really enjoy, and it's developed so much, in TV and film over the decades.
Mhm.
So, yeah, no, definitely looking forward to that.
How would you like? What do you think? Like the way they handle S3? I want to get everyone's opinion on this. Um, Everyone, you can unmute yourself. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go around and get everyone's opinion on this. But if you hear noise in the background, please mute yourself. I always want to get from people's opinion. How do you feel they handle S31 and DS9 as compared to, let's say, Discovery? Starting with you, Elaine. Like, how do you feel they handle Section 31 in terms of like how they appear on DS9 versus how they appear on Discovery?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm for DS9. I'll be honest. I don't want to like pick on Discovery or anything. I'm always gonna prefer DS9.
Yeah.
Um, Again, the less is more quality. Like it's good knowing a bit more, but I think for the purpose of storytelling, I think it's probably best to be like, no, you're not. This is a need to know thing, you
Hmm.
know, and you
Yeah.
only know we want you to kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I liked how DS9, when Section 31 did appear, they were very aloof. They didn't give much information, and you kind of didn't know what they were about until after they did what they did. you know, and then you saw the ripple effect like later on down the line. They have a good way of like their overt operations, their covert operations is in and out,
And
and
also like, it's good to know too if like it wasn't just this one guy because it's all we really ever saw. You know what I mean? Like you have to. That's another thing. That's definitely something I'd be curious about. It's like,
I
well,
think it's
obviously,
like their structure to have that one point person, but there's folks behind the scenes that just don't really show you. Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know how they're gonna show S31 with this new incarnation, but I hope it's very interesting. Hope it's very
Yeah,
interesting. Thank you, Elaine. Let's go to Anne. Anne, are you with us? See, she's muted. Okay. So Anne is not.
I
Anne,
think
are
she
you
wrote
able to? Yeah. She's on the chat, but she's not able to. I don't think she's able to unmute herself.
I don't have much time, so let
So,
me.
oh, you're leaving? Okay, so yeah, we'll hear from you, Jonathan.
I like how Deep Space Nine created the lore of Section 31 because, like, honestly, we've never seen the full constitution of the United Federation of Planets.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not like the way how they portrayed Section 31 in Disco, or should I
Mm.
say, E. And I'm not a fan of Star Trek Discovery. I think it was a lost opportunity, and I don't like the way how they took the show. But I'll leave it at that. But I do not believe that there needs to be a Section 31 movie. I do not
Mm-hmm.
believe Kurtzman and his people have the real honest gatekeeping to understand Star Trek. And
Mm.
I think they're just taking ideas that they look up on like YouTube and like Wikipedias and go, oh, what's the secret group? What was that group? Oh, what's that called? Oh, Section 31. And so with ships, Section 3, it's like, think of like the CIA. But the CIA or the KGB have their own ships? No. Just like what they did in the movie Into Darkness. You know, they wouldn't have their own ships. They're behind the background. They would topple a government from within using rebels, and then have the Fed come in and be like, "We're here to be your savior," without the general knowledge of the Federation that we toppled their government, like what we did with the banana republics in Central America. How the CIA toppled along with the French Secret Service the Shah because he wanted to nationalize the oil industry. Stuff like that is Section 31. The idea that they're this big group running around with their own ships. I mean, where's the finances? Even though there's no finance in the Federation, there is accountability. You just can't go to the replicator and replicate 1,000 ships. So there are costs involved in the Federation and their, resources. And I just don't like the way they're depicting it. So, and I do not like Discovery either. And I think like I said, it was just a lost opportunity.
So what would you like to see? Like if they wanted, like if you could have your druthers in terms of a S31 incarnation, like what would you like to
I
see?
like Strange New Worlds. I like Strange New Worlds a lot, but I do not think the idea of Section 31 is the idea is like they're the boogeymen in the background that do the dirty work that you don't need to know about. And to do a show to exploit all that, it lessens the secrecy. In my view, it cheapens it. It's like if you do movies with the CIA, it always is ambiguous. It's always like, could the CIA be involved in this? Would they be involved in this? And you see how they depicted Section 31 with like the Borg probes or whatever. The guy was like, I don't know. I just think it was dumb. I just thought it was dumb. It's like, to me, a lot of the writing in Star Trek today is really silly. And it doesn't make you think. It doesn't make you think. It doesn't like Deep Space Nine. I loved Deep Space Nine. The depiction of a widowed father raising a son on like a outskirt prairie, town in the West. Just take Deep Space Nine and put it in a Western town. Odo's the sheriff. Akira is the feisty local, constable. Like, it's the way how it would be written. You could just to picture them like Wyatt Earp, like, and Odo's, and like Cisco is with, the town governor or the town mayor, and or the town constable above Odo, and he's got a son he's got to raise. He's got to deal with all the political and shenanigans going on. But I just I find the writing a lot today to be very silly, very, very like dumbed down in a way. Like even the way they depict Kirk. As much as I love DS Strange New Worlds, and I think it's a really good incarnation of Star Trek, I just find that the writing can be better at times. The idea that Nurse Chapel was a soldier all of a sudden, certain things that like they're bringing into the background. It's like they're picking character names because they know, people know Nurse Chapel. Let's put her on the show. People know Dr. Banga. Ooh, let's put him in. That's great. Let's find other characters we could bring out from the old series to try and connect.
So it's like you feel that they're taking the character's name, but they're giving like a whole new person, but using another character's name. But
exactly,
you're not following the same kind of nuance of the original person, just taking their name and putting them on some character and making them a certain way.
I could see your horror as a cadet visiting, like during in the Navy, they have like when they're near graduation, they'll have cadets go out to ships, and they'll train them. They'll see what role they want to do, where they want to go, and it's sort of weird. Like I just think they picked your horror to like build it out, but your horror wasn't on the original Enterprise at that time. With Pike, Spock was there. Yes, Spock was there. That was established. but it's like sort of like they bring in like some of these characters, and at the time Kirk was a lieutenant, JG, on the Farragut. Then he was on the Republic. Then he finally got to the Enterprise. So it's sort of like you bringing him in now to do like fan service.
I see. Okay, well, thank you for your insights. That was pretty
You're
interesting.
welcome.
Thank you. And if you have to leave, thank you
Test,
for
can anybody
coming.
hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, we hear you, Morris. Good. So we're gonna go on to Homer. Homer, we want to hear your thoughts about upcoming Discovery and S31.
Sure. So for Discovery, for a while we didn't know how long it was going to go. I had thought 7 years, and it turns out 5. They've taken a lot of time to come out with the final season. You know, they got other stuff in between, but I'm hoping that this extra time has given them an opportunity to come up with a satisfying ending. So I look forward to seeing how they wrap it up, and if they're going to end up still forward in time, or if they're going to go back to where they were, if they're going to change their uniforms again, because it seems like they enjoy doing that. I've enjoyed it, and the thing I enjoy about it the most actually is that my wife, to her, that's her Star Trek, and so it's one that we look forward to on Thursdays and we watch together. So yeah, and plus, I think that the actors, pretty much without exception, on Discovery are really great people. My experience with them, of course, especially Doug Jones, his Doug hugs are legendary, and I have been able to receive a couple, 3 of those as well. So really good folks. Section 31, yeah, no comparison. I think DS9 did it right. I think Discovery did not. I think that it was very much too much all about this. Hey, we have this cool technology, and we're going to create a bunch of ships, and we're going to overwhelm you with numbers that are controlled by one person. Now, I know, speaking of that, like there's control and there's Section 31, but that's part of the issue as well. It's kind of like everything got all confused in watching it for me, and me trying to keep Section 31 straight from control, and then Liam Section 31, and then the hierarchy there, and who are they reporting to, who's in charge, who's pulling the strings. But I am curious to see, and I hope they go there, like what is the inciting incident that ended up creating Section 31? And bonus points if it's something that has already happened in our history. Like that would be pretty cool if they went there. I love Michelle Yeoh, so I look forward to seeing her do that. I don't know if they can do it justice. I hope so.
Wait, Homer.
Yeah.
Homer, the reason it's called Section 31 is in the Federation Constitution. Under Section 31, Starfleet and its member worlds have the ability to create and enact a covert operations to carry out for the protection and the safeguard of the citizens of the Federation. That's Section 31. That's why it got its name, because under Section 31 is this ambiguous to protect the citizens of the Federation. And if you read the whole, there's like something like 1,000 clauses in the Constitution for the Federation. And that's when they said Section 31, that's the name. There's a real name, but they cannot reveal it to the public. So that's how Section 31 got its nickname, because it's under Section 31 of the Federation Constitution.
Okay.
I feel like you've got that on your Kindle as well.
What?
Yeah. No, I feel like you've got that on your Kindle. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, because
thank you.
In the episode when Sloan is talking with Cisco about wanting to take Bashir into he goes, "What the heck are you?" He goes, "We're Section 31 in the Constitution. When it was created in 2161, there wasn't a section put in, possibly by the Andorians. Had to be the Andorians and the Vulcans, because the Vulcans have the secret organization that they, were spying on the Andorians, and the historians have the military might and the idea, and then you had the Makos. So the Makos were absorbed into Starfleet. All these worlds have top secret, and they probably felt that there's a need that the Federation citizens don't need to know someone is trying to be a boogeyman, and they're there to prevent that.
Do you know, I can't remember, Jonathan or anyone, do you remember if any of the other incarnations prior to DS9 was it? Yeah,
nope.
I didn't think so. Okay.
No.
And yeah, I didn't think
so. There was if you go back to the original episode, the Enterprise incident, when Kirk was ordered to steal with Spock the cloaking device. And in that episode, they were ordered by Starfleet Starfleet intelligence, that they had to infiltrate the Romulan ship to get the cloaking device. And that's when Spock fooled the Romulan into that he was in love with her, and he subterfuge, and Kirk put on Vulcan ears to be a Romulan to steal the device. The device was then stolen and never heard of until the Pegasus incident in TNG, when they took the cloaking device, the Admiral, and that's when Riker was a lieutenant junior grade, and they went with the Pegasus and they turned it on, and they ended up fusing into an asteroid.
Okay.
So there's been dark shadows of the Federation in the past, like when Picard was ordered to get captured. I don't know why you would send a captain on a covert mission with the Klingons. I mean, with the Cardassians. That's a 2 episode when Picard was captured.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Like, why would you send? It's like sending Admiral Halsey to try and capture the plans from the Japanese on an island because they have a radar dish.
I guess they figured he would be the best one. Okay, so we're gonna let's see, Anthony.
Thank you, Jonathan. That's good.
Yes. Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
Anthony, what's your expectation for Disco and S31?
Okay, and you already said that. Well, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Discovery. Right? Come back to all the other stuff.
My shirt.
Never mind your shirt.
It really is STD, but that's another story.
Okay, never mind. However, I hope they don't give it a trash ending like they did to Enterprise. I know, I'm not a big fan, so please give them a good send-off. That we don't have to do another series 20 years in the future to get them a decent ending.
I hope so too.
Okay, Picard season 3, and well, you know.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Picard season 3 was
okay.
The best.
Jonathan, let Anthony speak, okay? Because I don't want to have to force mute you. Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay, as for Section 31, well, I know that like Jonathan said, they kind of made little hints about such a thing until we finally hear about Deep Space Nine. Now, as where I stand, when I watch a whole TV show based on Section 31, kind of like they had like James Bond, the series thing, I feel it takes away from it. So I guess like a movie or like a 2-3 episode mini series will kind of work for the format.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Just to get like not blow the whole thing, but give you a glimpse.
No, is it supposed to be a movie though? Isn't?
Yeah,
it's going to be a movie, not a series.
It's supposed to be a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, because I don't know. Let's hopefully, maybe it's me wishing that they had the writing talent of the late Tom Clancy. And like those espionage subterfuge that.
Oh, okay. Is he like one of your favorite espionage writers?
Yeah, I'm rereading Hunt for Red October right now.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. All right. Thank you. Anything else you want to add, Anthony? Before we go on?
Well, let's see what happens. And either way, I'm gonna be watching.
Yeah, me too. Kevin, let's get your opinion, and then Minnie, and then Morris. Kevin, are you with us? Are you beaming in?
Muted.
But you're beaming in and out. It's gone now. It's like that planet that comes in and then they disappear. You with us, Kevin? Okay, you get yourself together. We're going to move on to Minnie. Minnie, so share with us your expectations for Discovery and what you look forward to in terms of S31.
Okay, so full disclosure, I actually have not finished watching Discovery yet.
That's
I probably
okay.
seen like about like maybe like 2 to 3 seasons because I'm actually because I haven't seen like many of the older seasons. So I finished the original series. I watched Picard, I watched Strange New World, and I watched like obviously TNG. And so now I'm in Voyager because I'm trying to catch up with like the older series. And I did finish like DS9 prior to starting Voyager.
Mhm.
In terms of, like my thoughts about Section 31 as a new series, I think it'll be really interesting because like given the fact that you get a sample of that what they do like in DS9, right? And then you get like a little bit more information about them in like Discovery. And then were they in, I'm sorry, I don't remember, were they also in Strange New World a little bit?
I don't
Like Joe,
recall. S31?
yeah.
I missed a lot of Strange Worlds. Does anyone
No,
recall?
No, maybe
I
not.
don't
Maybe
really.
because it was Pike when he was in Discovery. I think that's probably when I was like mixing the two because he was also in Discovery and then he has his new show and
Mhm.
in a Strange New World. But
Yeah, he did
I thought it'd be
appearances.
interesting to really learn about finally, the origins of this organization and then what they're about because like, we only get to see, small bits of them, showing up.
Mhm, mhm.
And then this is always like one of the like favorite lines in the show. I don't remember its exact line, but like it was like someone between Pike and then like another officer and Section 31, and he's like, yes, Pike was saying that. I have a much more straightforward mandate. And then that's kind of like a really interesting line differentiating like what they do in the Federation versus like what they do in Section 31. So it would be interesting to really see what they're about, and how they're going to be able to develop that kind of narrative. And
Right.
so it'll be interesting. I know I'm excited. So I guess that's my answer.
Good,
I'm just
good.
so yeah, I'm
I'm
open to
excited
everything.
too. Yeah. Good. And happy you're watching the older series, the older
Yeah, because
incarnations. That's
I have
good.
to catch up. So like after Voyager, I'm gonna move on to Enterprise. And then like
Okay.
after Enterprise, I'm gonna finish Discovery and
Mhm.
then like also like the other animated series. Like that's what my trajectory is gonna be.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. All right, thank you. We'll come back to you. And Morris, Kevin, let me know when you're ready. Morris, we'll get your opinion.
I mean, as far as Discovery is concerned, can you still hear me?
Yeah, you hear you clear. That's
Okay,
great.
sorry. I'm usually a Mac person. I just bought a PC, so I'm still getting used to it.
Let
So,
me tell you something about
Why?
Morris. Morris has all kinds of stuff. He's all kind of techie. So little things like this, it's just hard for him. He's big techie guy. Little things like this is
I'm
like,
a video
Why
editor.
give up a Mac?
he's a video man, filmmaker, special effect. So this little stuff right here, it's just he just he's like Einstein. Einstein can think big things.
Not at all.
Little
You're playing
things,
me up way
little
too
things
much.
is hard for Einstein. Morris is
No,
that way. I know.
no, no.
I've known Morris for a long time, so I'm always singing his praises. But go ahead, sweetie.
As far as Discovery, I think they did pretty good with the series, and I'm hoping that the last season will be good. But my gripe is with Strange New Worlds. I like the show, but I think Chapel was very callous with Spock's feelings
Hmm.
at the end. And other things that I'm hoping to see that was it more about whether or not Dr. Corby will be an android, where they'll hint to that in some way
Hmm.
in the upcoming show.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's 3-1.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds. Are we
How
talking about
about
Section 31?
yeah, S31. Yeah, the
Sorry, I'm
S31.
not up on my initials.
Mhm.
As far as I don't know, I
Section
think
31.
2-hour movie is the best way to do it.
Mhm.
And I guess she also got
she got much bigger since her movie. That's all she can do. But I think it's better that way instead of giving away all the Section 31 secrets.
Mm-hmm. So you prefer a movie over series too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep it a little incognito, not too much. We just want to know a little bit, but not too much. Is that funny? Feel like fascinated with this group, and we want to know about this group, but we don't want to know too much. No?
Not everything all at once.
That's good. That's good. That's true. That's true. I'm the same way. I've always been fascinated with Section 31, but then when people start talking deeply about it, I'm like, well, I don't want to hear all that because I want to still keep them. It's like when you look at a movie that's got great special effects, and Morris, I know you can relate to this. And when you get the DVD and the DVD shows you how they did various scenes, I'm like the type of person that even though I'm interested, it's like I don't want to know it because I just want to keep it in my head, like it just
Well, I'm
happened.
the opposite that way. Being a visual effects guy, I'm always trying to be behind the scenes.
It's like I'll eventually look at it, but like right after the movies, like when you're looking at it with friends, people are like, "Oh, let's look at how they did this." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to. I just watched the movie. I want to keep it in my head like a mystery, and then I'll watch it later on." So I've done that. So and that's how I feel about S31. Like I want to know more about it, and I want them to tell us like the beginnings of it all. But then I don't want them to go into it too much. I thought at one point I wanted a series, but then I'm like you guys. I prefer just a movie, and then that's it and no more.
Or maybe
Just
two
to let
movies.
just to let you know, Paramount is in the process of being sold. So there's talk of Warner Brothers buying the ability to make Star Trek. So a lot
Morris,
of the
Morris,
stuff,
you said that right? You was telling me about that Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and I was hoping maybe the fan film restrictions might get a little eased up.
and the thing is, if Warner Brothers gets control of they want to create Star Trek Studio. That's the story behind it. They want to be able to then produce it themselves or license it out. So, like, instead of you having Discovery Paramount Plus again, you just might have it where you watch it off Netflix because Netflix has the deal for certain content. So if Paramount does sell off the Star Trek rights, Kurtzman's gone. They're going to buy out Kurtzman's rights, and he's gone. Thank God. So there's a possibility that the movie might not happen for Section 31.
I guess it all depends on when the deal takes place.
Yeah.
Yep. And it'll be
and
weird.
they're negotiating with Michelle Yeoh, and since she won those awards, she's sort of more in demand, and she might not be fully under contract for that event, even though they say she's scheduled to be in it.
Well, I thought she wanted to do it.
Yeah, that would be
She said
weird
she
Wants to
wanted to.
do it.
in its own way.
What'd you say,
If Warner
Anthony?
Brothers got the rights to Star Trek, now the only thing that comes about what would they ever do with it? What direction would it go? And will we see a new series with Captain Bugs Bunny and Commander Daffy Duck?
No. If they would,
I prefer Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
Yep.
yeah. They would seriously know what they want to do is they want to create content. They want to create good content, but they want to license out the content. So the money's in the licensing. So you could produce the Star Trek, and instead of you putting it on Max, you license it out. You get residuals from licensing. So that's where they want to make their money back. And Paramount is in a lot of debt. And so we don't know what's going to happen with Star Trek, but Kurtzman's sort of like destroyed the cash cow, so to speak.
Wow. Oh well, let's hope for the best. Kevin, are you ready to give us your opinions? Yay, Kevin!
Yeah, you know what it is? My phone is linked up to my car, so I'm trying to push buttons on my phone, and the buttons are on the car. Who would know? You know what I'm saying? So, it's this technology stuff, trying to keep up with it. Well, okay, so with Discovery, it's really interesting because when Discovery came on, I was trying to follow what the hell was going on. But once it got going, I understood what's going on. And then that gave us Michelle, Yeoh, which I like because she's one of those characters that that you usually don't see in Star Trek, because you don't know which way it's going to go. Like the time when she was on some one and she was killing everybody, and she says, what you consider torture, I consider foreplay. So the
It
way I
was
see
hot.
it with Star Trek, any Star Trek I consider a plus, because I was around when there were large sections of time that there was no Star Trek. But what has to change is, and they're trying to do it with Discovery and other things, is you have to reach new people. Because if you look here, you look at the age that we're here, you got to get the new people. Now, I consistently work with people from 18 to 21, 23, and they're not interested in Star Trek. So certain things have to change so you can make it accessible to them. They don't care exactly what Captain Kirk did in the 60s or this or that. They want something that appeals to them. So the great thing now is we have streaming, so we can have numerous different types of Star Trek for different groups. Like they have the cartoon one. I really haven't watched it, but I've seen a few episodes, and it is actually good, and it might be attracting really young kids. It's just that I'm not around them. I'm
Prodigy.
around.
Are you talking about Prodigy or
Yeah,
Lower
All
yeah,
right,
Decks?
Lower
Yeah,
Decks.
yeah,
Prodigy. Yeah,
Well, Prodigy
Prodigy
was
yeah.
is
okay.
attracting a lot.
Yeah,
Prodigy is attracting a lot.
and I watched it, and I said, wow, this has a message in there. It's Star Trek. It's got all of this other thing. So it's things like that maybe it doesn't appeal to me, but it does appeal to other people out there. So we have to stop looking at this has to line up with this, has to line up with this, and get programs out there to bring new people in, because eventually we'll all be gone and there won't be any Star Trek. So that is
But
something that
Let
you
me ask you.
seriously have to think about.
I
Right,
was
right. Let me wait a minute. Excuse me, Jonathan, Kevin, because of the fact that you are around a lot of young people and you have young people in your family,
Right.
what would you think? What when you talk to them and you mention about Star Trek, and based on their reaction and the things that you know that they like, what what aspect of Star Trek needs to be improved upon, in your opinion, to attract these young people to them to the
Well,
franchise?
that's that's hard for me to say. I'm the kind of person, because I deal with music and so forth like that. So I go with what is going. So if you ask me to be creative, I'd have to say I don't know yet, but I know my son is 21. He
Mhm.
is not remotely interested in Star Trek. He watches certain things and he'll watch a sci-fi movie, but he's not interested. So it's going to have to be more than special effects and this and that. I don't know. I just know that you have to change certain things to bring people in and be more inclusive. And with certain things, and with Discovery and some of the other things, they're doing that and they're bringing other people in. But you need more than that in there, because Star Trek has always been around, but it's not a huge moneymaker compared to all of the other things that are out there, and the video games. And that's what I found out that blew my mind. They're making billions of dollars with these video games, more than they're making off the movies and stuff like that. So if Star Trek wants to make money, they're going to have to get into the video game aspect of it,
Mm,
which they do have
They have
some,
a few
but
video games.
yeah,
mm,
but you got to get something designed for them. Like, I mean, I've done some Star Trek VR stuff. My son thought it was the most boring thing in the world, you know.
mm.
So I don't have those type of answers. I just do what I have to do to keep working at the colleges and universities as far as music. And then if it's something that I don't want to do, I step back and say, okay, let somebody do it because they're going to enjoy it. But yeah, there
Okay.
but
it's we the last time we showed a Star Trek movie was in God, it must have been 20 years ago, and they weren't interested. And I thought it was the best movie out. I'm there, and I'm cheering. I'm like, yeah, and
What movie was
like
that?
the one with the where they redid it in the alternate timeline, the ones
oh
you
oh
don't
no,
like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and here's the funny thing.
In the
My
darkness.
daughter likes those movies with the captain, and she likes it. She'll go to the movies with those. She's seen all three of those.
Mm.
Because
But
she wants that. Whoever, I forgot who it is. Is it Chris
but
Helmsworth or whatever?
Chris
You
Pine.
know,
Chris
just
yeah,
fine.
Pine.
but you got to
That's
remember,
her guy.
you just got to remember at the time before Viacom bought Paramount and CBS. CBS knew Star Trek wasn't like making billions of dollars.
It wasn't.
It made enough money to be a successful franchise that they
Yeah,
made movies, they had the books, they
yeah,
had content, and they weren't there to make money. When Viacom purchased CBS, they turned around and tried to make Star Trek into this cash cow that ruined the golden goose, that they forced. I mean, if you want to know the history, when Rick Berman was in charge of Star Trek, as long as they were successful with the three shows on TV, they were fine. Then they wanted them to make the movies, and they forced them to make Insurrection after the success of Star Trek First Contact. And the story was going to be a little darker. It was going to be like Apocalypse Now of Star
Mm.
Trek. That
Mhm.
yeah. I
Picard's
remember
got
that.
to go down. It was like based on the book with
Mhm.
Data and Riker, and they got to go get this guy that was doing evil things in the Federation. And it was like, and it had a side story with the Fountain of Youth.
Mhm.
And it was like Picard questioning himself, like sort of like how Kirk was questioning himself in Star Trek 2. Am I too old for this? Am I time to hand it over? It was like he was like, questioning himself. And then he said, "Look, I don't want to make another dark movie. I want to lighten it up." And they changed it to like a two-part episode that would have been an episode,
Mhm.
Insurrection. Then they go, "We're going to do Star Trek Nemesis." And
That
they
I didn't
brought
really
in,
care for that too much.
yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
And
nobody
the
did.
fans didn't like it. They brought in a guy
Yeah,
that never watched Star Trek. He wanted to rewrite the story. They forced the story. The whole thing with the bald guy, that the actor that was then later on, there's a whole backstory with that actor that he ended up being dumped by people because of what happened in Nemesis. He became a crack user. Tom Hardy.
No.
And then he eventually resurrected his career. He was in Mad Max. But he said it because I thought I was going to be the next best thing. They ruined the whole original story. He never looked like Picard. The whole idea that they cloned Picard from his blood somehow. The whole thing with the Remians, the mental rape of Troy. I mean, it was just a
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going
And
to ask something
then,
about that. Every
Go
time I
ahead,
see
Anthony.
Nemesis, I'm
Mhm.
like, why is Captain Picard fighting Billy Corgan?
right,
Mm.
right. And then you have when Enterprise came out, Voyager. They wanted Voyager. And originally they said, okay, but you need to give us another year. We want to flesh the story out. They go, you only have half the amount of time, or we'll find someone to do it for us. We'll replace you. And that's
Mm.
why Voyager was always so iffy with the writing and the whole for 7 years. And the same thing with
And constantly
Enterprise.
changing her hairstyle.
Yeah. And then in Enterprise, they took the starship. If you watch the beginning battle of First Contact, they took the Akari class, flipped it over, and called it the Enterprise. And the fans were upset with it was because if you go back to all the original books, the Enterprises, the ships before the Enterprise with big balls,
Yeah.
little net, like they had, like, you got to see the progression of technology.
Mhm.
Here's a ship that looks more sophisticated than the original series. So
Yeah.
that threw fans off. And then the way how the writing was inconsistent in Enterprise, there were really good episodes, and there were a lot of like, eh. And then the way how the whole series, and then when Viacom was sold and they split Paramount from Viacom and CBS, and Les Moynes, who was in charge, hated Rick Berman. They hated each other. So he didn't want to spend money on Enterprise anymore. And because there was no more UPN, he never wanted to put or even think of syndication for Enterprise. So he says, I hate you. Fuck you. I'm sorry for the language. I'm killing Enterprise. And that's how Enterprise ended.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Morris, you have something you want to add?
No.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It just seems like they keep making incarnations with the hope of attracting people. Um, but it's like I agree with Kevin. We have to make sure that we're doing enough to attract a crowd that's going to continue helping the franchise to grow and to
Maybe they
still
should
be
have let
around.
Tarantino do it.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't even imagine like what Star Trek will look like with that. I really can't. I really can't imagine. But I know that we definitely are going to need to have more better writing. There's a lot that can be done when you're dealing with space. I like to see new aliens, different planets, different kind of planets that have different unique qualities. That always makes things interesting. Um, and I think it just needs to be this. You know, the special effects is good, but the story, when the story is really great and the special effects is great, that is like, you know, the best kind of combination. And we've seen there's been a lot of episodes through all the carnations where there's good stories and good special effects. Some episodes are good special effects, very weak story. There's some episodes a really great story. You would have liked to see a little bit more special effects with them. I felt DS9 to me, and maybe the later part of Voyager were the best in terms of showing good story and good special effects together for multiple stories. Like I think those two incarnations had more multiple stories that had the combination of both. Early Next Gen had a lot of, you know, some good, some not so good stories. Discovery has great special effects. Very few, in my opinion, very few really strong stories that really made me think, that made me feel, that made me, you know, say, wow, you know. The rest was like, okay, yeah, that's good, you know. But and you know, they have the money, they have the budget. I think it all comes down to writing. And we, as longtime Star Trek fans, we're used to not so much special effects, but really great story writing. Okay. So we know what it's like to have good stories that make you think, that captivate you, that resonate with you, that make you talk about it a week after the aired and the week after that and want to go
Yeah.
back and
It's
watch it
And
again.
how about this?
well, it's
Like they
funny you
should.
should say that, because
Go ahead,
Wrath of
Morris.
Khan, the best Star Trek movie, is something they got from the past.
Is what?
Wrath of Khan, the best Star Trek movie, is when they went back into the past to get the story.
Yeah. I see. That's what we're talking about. The
And check
classics.
this out. You know, they should really, literally take a page out of the book of Star Trek. Like hit up some of the writers who've done the Titan series, the SCE.
Mm.
You get some story ideas off of them.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, guys. Well, what we're gonna do? I want to keep the conversation going. If you guys want to still stay on, we're gonna just shut down for the site because we've got enough time for the site. I usually like when it comes to putting stuff on the YouTube, I like for it to be 30, 45 minutes. We've been attracting a lot of people from the YouTube, so we're gonna keep the channel active. We've been asked to keep the channel active. We've been asked if we get up to a certain amount of subscribers, we will get a sponsor. So that's the reason why we're going to be doing these more and more often. And then we do have some guests lined up. Um, but everything, you know, in this time. And there's a project that we're working on that when we get it together, we'll let everybody know because we want everybody to, you know, to know about it and everything. So again, for those of you who are on meetup.com, we're not really dealing with that site a lot. I don't have the time to finagle between meetup.com and Facebook. So um, if you or people that you know on meetup.com, please let them know to join Facebook because that's where we're going to be posting more of the activities coming up. Okay. So we're working with a lot of things we want to do for the group to do things and be active. More charity requests are coming in. So I would really appreciate if all of you who don't have a top try to invest in a top. And even if you don't have a top, I have several tops. So um, when we do any type of charity or appearance, and you want to come, just grab some black pants. And I got plenty of tops because I want us to be more like when we do these public appearances, I would like for us to be at least in the Star Trek top. Okay. that'll really be great.
We all have to wear the exact same outfit or
No, because normally when we do appearances, unless they request a particular incarnation, it's usually just all Star Trek tops will be acceptable from any generation. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, good. Homer has some too. That's great. So that's great to know. So whenever we're doing something and we put out the call and you're like, I don't have a top, I don't have money to buy a top, but I got some black pants and they're pressed and they're clean and they're nice, then that's good. Then we'll bring out tops and then folks can figure out what top they want to say. Jonathan, you have something you want to say before we go? And Kevin? So we hit you, Jonathan. Jonathan, unmute.
I make professionally Star Trek uniforms. So if you want a nice tailored uniform, you can look me up.
Okay.
I do make them. I also am the quartermaster for the USS Iwo Jima. And another event in April is April 5th for First Contact Day. There's a Star Trek event at McHale's.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so, I think everyone we posted that. Yeah, so a lot of folks will be there for that.
Yeah, we're
always
there.
get together. Yeah. And I gotta make sure. I gotta see if I don't know if Lawrence will have cake. I gotta see if he has cake. I know he had cake last time. Let's see if he has cake this time.
You say I can't hear you.
I have to see if Lawrence ordered a cake and everything like that. We also have two other seamstresses in the group too. If you want to ever have anything made, Kevin, you had something you wanted to say before we go?
Oh yeah, the one thing I wanted to say, if you guys are going to the Cradle, let me know because I'm usually there with what's his name, Jonathan, right?
Yeah.
Did I get the name right? Yeah, so I'm usually there. And Deanna, that's where you first recruited me to do the cosplay thing. I don't know if you remember. It
Really?
wasn't called CradleCon. They had a thing there. You did some kind of presentation, and I said, I can wear a Star Trek uniform, and you told me about the meetings in the city. That was at the Cradle. I forgot what kind of thing it was.
Right.
And that was you.
You know what? That was the cosplay showcase that we did in the auditorium.
Yeah,
that was all. It was all you. So all of that stuff I have in the closet, and all of these meetings, and all of this other stuff is because you said, "Come to my thing," and and I'm like, and I don't know if my son was there too, and because he wasn't interested. I think we went.
I think he was. Yeah,
your son.
I think we ate and then came back specifically to go to that.
Yes,
and
you did. Yes, you did. Yes, yes. Yeah. That's right. Remember, that's right.
And so you started it all. At least for me. So, but if you are going, let me know. Because I have a car, so that way, if you're at the train station or whatever like that, and I'm around, I could always leave the Cradle, which my daughter used to work there, and go and pick you up and bring you real quick, or you take an Uber. I know it's hard getting around the island, and there's another conference, I guess in May. I forgot what they call it because you were there. No, not the Cradle. There's another one in May too. The Long Island.
The Long Island Trek.
Right. Which I'm no longer really.
Isn't that even further than CradleCon?
Yes.
Yeah, but here's the thing: on Long Island, we all drive. So, but like I said, with that, I think I'll probably be there at least for one day. So, just stay in contact. Because if I'm there and you're stuck someplace, it's easy for me to just leave there really quick and pick you up and bring you there. Because I understand how hard it is. But I will be at CradleCon, and I will be at the other one. Probably only for one day unless something changes.
Okay.
But yeah, I owe the Cradle because, like I said, my daughter worked there. So even I think it's just Jonathan, a few other people that do the Star Trek thing, and then there's a lot of Star Wars people. But I'm always there at least for one day.
That's a pretty place too. It is a
CradleCon for babies. What is that?
No, CradleCon is the Cradle Aviation Museum.
The Cradle Aviation.
It's so funny. All right, everybody. I'm gonna shut down the recording, but we can stay online. Okay, so everyone that's gonna be watching this, again, make sure you're on our Facebook. Make sure you follow us. If you have questions and you want to email me, proudgenerations@yahoo.com, and I will get back to you. Okay. Have a wonderful day, and we are signing off. Everyone say bye.
Bye.
Later, people.
Long and prosper.